Welcome, everyone, to the Q&A session for our upcoming Advanced Global Dark Night course, titled Transform Disillusionment and Loss into a New Reality of Grace, Compassion, and Truth. In this 11-week course, we will journey to find enlightened consciousness, discover how to hold both darkness and light, and help birth a new reality. My name is Nadira, and it is my pleasure to be hosting this hour-long Q&A call for the Shift Network, where we will explore the teachings of Andrew Harvey and address questions about his upcoming course, which begins Wednesday, January 6th. Later, I will explain how you can participate in this course, even if you can't attend the live sessions. But first, it's my pleasure to introduce our guest. Andrew Harvey is an author, speaker, and founder-director of the Institute of Sacred Activism, an international organization focused on inviting concerned people to take up the challenge of our contemporary global crises by becoming inspired, effective, and practical agents of institutional and systemic change in order to create peace and sustainability. He has written and edited over 30 books and received many awards, including the Benjamin Franklin Award and the Mind, Body, Spirit Award. In just a few moments, we are going to open up for questions, but first I want to welcome Andrew, who will begin our call with an opening poem. Welcome to the call, Andrew.
Hello everybody out there. How absolutely wonderful it is to be sitting in my lovely quiet room in Oak Park with my cat asleep and with you whom I am longing to invite into what I believe will be the most thrilling adventure of your life, which is the birthing of your evolutionary consciousness, the birthing of a consciousness that can truly hold the mad opposites that are dancing in the world, because it knows it is divine and embodied at the same time. And the greatest poet of the process that I'm going to be sharing with you, the staggering process of engoldenment with all the powers that it gives us, the greatest poet of this process is someone who woke up to it in the 14th century, Kabir. And I just want to scent the time between us by reading you one of his most sublime poems, but also a poem that is news of you. There will come a day when you wake up to what he is waking up to in this poem. And this is the poem I sometimes think that Kabir wrote when he realized with awe and ecstasy and infinite gratitude and absolutely shattered open wonder that he was the living human divine. So when you listen to this poem, listen to something that will one day be real for you. And if it's going to be one day real, it's real now, because in eternal presence and on the diamond point of the eternal presence, everything is present. The beloved is in me, and the beloved is in you. As life is hidden in every seed, so rubble your pride, my friend, and look for him within you. And when I sit in the heart of his world, a million suns blaze with light, a burning blue sea spreads across the sky. Life's turmoil falls quiet. All the stains of suffering wash away. Listen to the unstruck bells and drums. Love is here. Plunge into its rapture. Rains are streams of water dancing. Rivers are streams of light. How could I ever express how blessed I feel to revel in such vast ecstasy in my own body? This is the music of soul and soul meeting, of the forgetting of all grief. This is the music that transcends all coming and going. So with that poem ringing in the cells of your being, imagine yourself now on that day which is now, when you awaken to the consummation of the journey, arriving here completely human and completely divine, in a world that is utterly lit up by the divine light, and in a world where you are absolutely present in every cell of your body, recognizing all of you and all of you and all of this and all of that as divine manifestation, evolving divine glory and beauty to ever deeper, richer, wilder, holier harmonies. That's the great message of Kabir to all of us, and I'm so thrilled to share it with you, knowing at last at this time of my life that it is real. So, welcome. Lovely to listen to you. Can't wait to hear your questions, and would love to tell you a little bit about this crazy but gorgeous adventure that I'm inviting you on.
Thank you so much. I'm feeling the intensity and the magnitude of this moment and this time, and also of what you're offering with that poem and with your energy in these teachings. I'm really looking forward to diving in. And we want to devote as much of our time together as possible to your questions for Andrew. So if at any time during this call you want to learn more about this course, please visit embracethedarknight.com to see the full description. And if you have questions for our customer service department, you can contact our stellar customer support team directly at support.theshiftnetwork.com. So let's dive into our questions. If you have a question for Andrew and you haven't already, please start posting them. I'm happy to read them. Please also be aware that given the volume of questions coming in, we may not be able to get to all of them. Question number one, Andrew, is in response to your statement actually about this is birthing a new consciousness. And I think we are all so ready for the birth to happen, but the labor pains are excruciating. So do you have something that could be the spiritual equivalent of an epidural to help get us through?
No, that's not what any serious mystical teacher would offer. What I'm offering is something far more beautiful and important than an epidural. What I'm offering is a deep understanding of the evolutionary meaning of this terrifying, agonizing experience that we're going through. And the more you can deeply intuit and believe and have faith in that meaning, the more you'll be able to bring to your suffering of this dark night an immense strength and an increasingly divinized wisdom. And then you won't need an epidural, because you'll find yourself learning from the black milk of the black night. Pain and horror and darkness will become your friends and your teachers. You'll be able to understand through divine intelligence why they are working in the seemingly chaotic and absolutely ferocious ways that they are working. And that will be a completely new consciousness and new, empowered, beautiful, gorgeous, purposeful life in the middle of the madness, whatever happens. So this is a completely different kind of adventure. You're not going to get out of the dark night. There is no way out. It will happen. It is happening. It's destined to happen. It's going to do its tremendous work of destruction because the time has come for the human race either to be transfigured into a new species capable of co-creating and collaborating with God in utterly astounding ways, or die out, because as we are suicidal and matricidal. That's the bad news, and its evidence is everywhere. But the good and amazing news is that when such a mega crisis, such an overwhelming intensity of constellated, interconnected crises erupts in this way, this is a sign, an amazing sign, that a new energy is entering, a new energy is being integrated, a new order is emerging, a new way of being is being compelled to evolve out of very precisely engineered catastrophes. That's thrilling and empowering and ennobling. And also it is the consciousness that enables you to collaborate with the evolutionary consciousness, because you're given the strength through mystical practice and through this expansion of your whole heart mind. You're given the strength to take on the fullness of this dark night and let it do its savage, amazing work of birthing you into a wholly new level of embodied, radiant, passionate, compassionate, peaceful, powerful, divine presence, in golden divine presence. That's the purpose of it. And the map that I'm giving you is all about that. How do you align with the laws of the dark night? How do you develop the qualities of surrender and humility and unknowing knowing and absolute adoration of love, whatever it does to you, so that you can be killed personally and resurrected personally by love into a wholly new identity? Those are the real questions. And those are the questions that the great evolutionary mystics have asked, and they've lived. And we have in their testimony, and some of us have, as I have through my own inmost experience of the truth of this map, we've been given the way through, the way to be killed in such a way by the agony of the dark night that we resurrect from the ashes of our old selves as embodied divine human phoenixes of powerful clarity and unstoppable compassion energy. Now that is an exciting adventure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You see the difference.
I have so many questions that I just want to ask you.
This is a training ground, yeah.
Yes. There's so many things just from everything that you've shared that I find additional questions that are coming up. And we also have questions that are coming in from participants. So I'll probably sprinkle some of my questions in as well, if there's space for them. But Baz would like to know, how do we learn to let go of all our worries and fears? I seem to worry a lot, and I would like to turn my negative imagination into positive imagination.
That is a wonderful question. And I would say that the most important thing that you could now do, realizing that you have a very naturally, crazily anxious mind, is to go on a journey to find the mind behind the mind, to go on a journey through very calm, focused meditation, joined with breathing, so that you can slowly calm your psychosomatic body. Go on a journey of daily meditation, just meditation, imageless meditation, so that over time, if you do it sincerely, you can come to be absolutely aware and awake to a vast, calm, empty, spacious, very alert, very vibrant, absolutely lucid mind that is your essential mind, that is the luminous, illumined mind of the universe. And when you come to know what I'm talking about, not just listen to what I'm talking about, and when you come to integrate that knowledge through practice into your daily living and breathing, then when you become anxious and crazed with what's happening, you can be like a mother from that spacious mind to your battered, raddled human mind. It's as if you could take yourself in your own arms of calm and peace and light. And that is a totally practical and totally transformative experience, which I invite you to as the first great response to your question. The second response is to cultivate also intense devotion to the mystery, because you'll find something that all authentic mystics will tell you, which is that you will be taken deeper into truth and peace and revelation if you abandon yourself to loving love with all that you are, with total, passionate, ecstatic devotion beyond reason. And that's the key to being taken by love and its mystery and the stages you go through as you open to its mystery, being taken to a place of absolute acceptance and surrender and patience and peace, which is not a passive place, but actually the foundation for a divine human life, which is dynamically peaceful and peacefully dynamic, just as God is. So whatever you have to do to awaken love for love, do it and say the name of God, the other practice, and say it with tremendous devotion. And you will be initiated into love, loving you in extremely holy and beautiful ways. And that will, over time, calm your anxieties and help you be, from the heart side, a mother to your own battered human heart, and hold it when it needs consoling in your own arms of rapture. This is what mystics come to understand, that we have as human beings divine consciousness, which when it's awakened and you use very simple and very deeply proven and very profound tools with that mystical consciousness to focus it on your actual human shattered shadow self, amazing progress can be made very soon. It doesn't have to take 25 years of talk therapy. The light can do miracles once you're collaborating in the way that I'm suggesting to you with it.
Yes. Thank you.
I think a lot of
For
people
anyone who is
probably
just joining,
wanted that question.
I think so. I think that everything that is being asked here, even if people feel as though their particular question isn't being given to you yet, everything that you're offering is responding to so many of the questions that we have coming in. So I think people are going to be receiving what they've come for. Yes, just by hearing you. So for those of you who have just joined us, we are here with Andrew Harvey, learning about his upcoming advanced course, which begins on Wednesday, January 6th. Please log on to Embrace the Dark Night for all of the details and to register. So there are so many different directions that we can go from here, but we've got a couple different questions that are coming in about the upcoming planetary alignments and the impacts they are having on society and our evolution. And since it's part of the conversation that we're having now, I thought that I would offer it to you and see if you have anything that is wanting to be shared or offered with regards to what people should be doing, how they should be marking this time, how they should be showing up, and any practices that they might want to do right now.
We're at a moment of very extreme danger. And there are two sides to this danger. One is an exploding corona pandemic, which could get even worse than the doomsayers predict, although we do have a vaccine. The other danger is that we're living in an explosion of very ruthless authoritarianism designed to try and destroy democracy in this country. And that is horrifying, and its repercussions, because it uses genocidal truth-killing tools to spread its fantasies and lies, its repercussions could be very deadly to the body politic and the heart of this country. I think what is most essential in a time as deeply scary as this, and I'm not even mentioning the increasingly collapsing climate and the other crises, what I think is absolutely essential is to realize that the very intensity and comprehensiveness of the crisis is a tremendous gift. If you can truly listen to it screaming at you to go deep into the core of who you essentially are through radical, far more urgent, far more intensely focused, mystical experience and practice. So make of these next weeks, as far as you can, weeks of inner, tender monasticism, in which you do your alignments with love, with the law of the light, with the beloved's demands. You do your alignments, your prayers, your meditations with absolute urgency and focus, because you can tell that from the extremity of what's happening in the outer world and the immense chaos of the forces that are now being seethed up, we are now in a dangerous convulsion of the potential birth, which could be very deadly to the birth and even abort the birth. So if you're going to be born into the next dimension of the species, and if you're going to be someone who helps midwife this amazing new reality, you're going to have to be calm and grounded and in love with the richness of your life, and in love with all beings, and in love with love itself, and illumined and absolutely able in your mind and heart and soul and body to say, yes, I will go through whatever whatever this dark night has to give me, to be born by it into my humble, radiant, divine humanity and help birth a new humanity. But don't underestimate how amazingly, ferociously demanding such a challenge is, and get strong now, for the times are burning and history is on fire, and what is bad is destined to get very more complicatedly and perversely and violently worse. So this is a wonderful moment to take a very deep breath and to commit yourself to your flowering in enlightenment in this life. But I would want to emphasize one thing in this time, and that is that if you know through grace what is happening, that this is the birthing time of the new human, then you know that the greatest power in the universe is the power of the mother, the birthing power that irradiates and lives in and creates and evolves every single process in every single realm, in every single universe. And that's only a tiny fraction of the glory and power of the mother. So in these days, as you approach the 25th, when the new human is born on earth through a mother, through the divine light and a mother coming together, in these days, as you approach that mystery, which is your mystery, which is all of our mystery, it doesn't belong to Christianity, it belongs to humanity, because it's a sign of what's potentially could happen to us, that we could be born as divine human beings. And it's a sign that nothing has been able to destroy or wipe out as you approach that mystery. Celebrate and love your body that is so menaced by this virus. Just treat it with dignity and tenderness and compassion, and feed it calmly and well, and exercise with gratitude and joy, and feeling yourself as the divine exercising through a human being, enjoying that lovely life energy as it flows out from you. And make a commitment to love the mother beyond imagining. Love her in nature, love her in people, love her in dogs and cats and colors and food and all the glory of life. And offer up your whole being to being consciously in whatever way you are drawn to her child, because she has so much wonderful, amazing, fierce, difficult, glorious work ahead for those who turn up to this great transfiguration birth that she is offering. And she'll show you, if you let her, and if you open enough to her, she'll show you what she has shown me and hundreds of thousands of others, of those who love her, that when you're turned to her and devoted to her with tremendous surrender and absolute knowledge that she is your mother, she will take you far beyond what you ever imagined you were, and show you just how beautiful and glorious and noble and powerful in her and through her you really are. But don't believe me. Go on the journey in these weeks, and you have no idea what could happen to you at this time of immense rupture and equally immense birth through that rupture of a new reality.
I love all of that. It feels as though you're speaking about the mundane, and then also moving through and beyond the mundane and reconnecting to the spirit that all of us have come here with. And I think so many people who are offering their questions are longing to get to that place, but they are feeling, as in the next question, Heidi wants to know, so how can we focus on the work and the healing that we're doing for ourselves if when we're dealing with the people who are closest to us, like family or neighbors or associates who feel as though they are assaulting us in our nests. And she would like to know, does it ever get easier to reflect or deflect these surprise assaults?
First of all, you cannot let yourself be assaulted by the madness of others. Because if you're going to let yourself be assaulted by the madness of others now, wait until that madness is even more epidemic than it is already. The whole lunatic asylum is going to catch fire. So you have to find a place inside yourself through meditation and practice of profound peace and profound compassion for those people whom you're characterizing now as assaulters of your nest, of your peace. They are drowning in the black acid of a terminally insane hallucination. And that is a terrible place for them to be. And there is nothing, whatever you can do for them until they decide to change themselves. But there is one thing you can do for yourself, and that is to stop thinking of them as your enemies and start thinking of them as parts of yourself that need your compassion. You need to protect yourself from them, but also to stop letting them assault you psychically and start radiating towards them quietly, secretly, in prayer for them, that they are given the grace to see what horrible darkness they have jumped into without any clothes. That's very important. And then the second thing that's very important is to realize you always have far more control over your own consciousness than you imagine. You always could, if you wanted to, as soon as you found that sense of being assaulted and the sense of being terrified of their madness and all of that, you could, if you wanted to, at the moment that those thoughts were arising, bring in mystical practice, bring in a practice for them, pray for them. You could do that. But the problem with all of us is that we allow these understandable reactivities to flower, and they flower horribly. They grow gangrenously like diseased dahlias in a dark flower bed. They just proliferate. And then we are the prey, the prisoners of their thought systems. So what I'm going to ask you to do and to invite you to do is that every time you think of the neighbor as these neighbors as crazy people assaulting you, you stop and realize that you're the one first who needs healing. You're the one who needs to get back to your mystical root and strength so that you can see without judgment and without fear and without hatred what is actually happening in them, and realize how much it needs your compassion and your prayer, your deep prayer, that they can be healed of insanity, psychosis. That's what it is. And then if you do those two deep shifts, you'll find that you have so much more power than you can understand at this moment, or may understand at this moment, as to how to truly keep your consciousness vibrant and joyful, whatever is erupting. You can, but you have to do the real humbling work.
Thank you. For this next question, I want to begin by mentioning that I know there are a lot of people who were warned in advance to begin preparing for this time. And you mentioned earlier in what you were sharing that it's entirely possible for someone to come into this state this state of connection with the divine dark mother and the divine sacred all-encompassing Blackness of the mother, that they can reach this state instantly. It doesn't have to take a long period of time. What do you say to the people who feel as though they're playing catch up because they didn't get the message?
I don't say
they didn't feel as though
instantly.
they were prepared and they're catching up.
I never wanted to imply that it comes instantly. These things are massive shifts. They cannot come instantly. What I wanted to say is that the enormity of the grace that's coming towards us, if we work with it, can enable us to go at tremendous speeds of progress, tremendous velocities of transformation. That's different. This isn't an instant recipe. So, what would you like me to comment on?
So just for those who feel as though they are playing catch up and as though they didn't get the memo to prepare.
Look, there is no point in wasting time in facing the depths of the crisis. There is no point in fantasy. There's no point also in beating yourself up for not having got it. You were the victims, like 98% of other people, of a world hallucination, a great global hallucination that humanity knew how to do what it said it could do, and it was insane and didn't and doesn't. So the most important thing that you could do is to let yourself have a good, calm, nervous breakdown, and try and do it as quickly as possible, and try and understand, not just with your mind, but with your heart, that you are in a potential extinction event. Very, very ferocious. And what that will do for you is get you real, because it will bitch slap you awake. And if you let it bitch slap you awake, it will also give you such energy to plunge into the serious question, the only serious question, which is, how are you going to live your days, your life, knowing this and being in this incomprehensibly dangerous and complicated and ferocious situation? How are you going to live your life? And if you do the inner work that I'm inviting you to, and if you do the work of opening to the outrageous possibility of the birth, and if you allow yourself to open and be broken open both to the agony and to the possibility, you'll find that you answer that question from the fullness of your life in a very radical, very exciting way that will empower you to take the next leap in your life towards greater radical authenticity. And that will transform the ground of your living.
I love that. Thank you. Tara would like to know if you can speak about major crying episodes during this dark night of the soul, and whether or not this purging is beneficial.
Wonderful question. I don't think that anyone waking up authentically to what is actually happening, to the complete devastation and horror of so much of it, would avoid endless crying jags. I've had them. Everybody who has been awoken in this situation is constantly potentially invaded by that kind of devastating heartbreak. What I've discovered is that they are beneficial if you weep them out completely. And if you don't let the weeping become crazed with outrage or demonization of others, if you just allow the weeping to go right the way through you, in my experience, it cleanses you, it purifies you, it expands your heartbroken open heart even more, so that when you have been washed clean by the tears, you're able to approach the mystery again humbly and willing to continue to give and to love. But if you find yourself in any way morbidly, masochistically, weirdly, psychologically, complexly involved with your tears and building that experience into something apocalyptic and final, and that only can be the truth, then you aren't living the divine life, because the divine life is grounded in unknowing knowing, in knowing that you cannot know what is about to unfold. The facts can be unspeakably terrifying and show that termination is likely. They can, but God is in the mix. All sorts of extraordinary divine forces are here. The alchemy of this birth is taking place. We have no idea, nobody, not even the Dalai Lama, has any idea of how this could unfold. So don't make an icon of your grief. Let it be a humanizing, tenderizing blessing. And let it be something that you accept as love's natural response to the shattering of what it loves. And let it be something that you offer up as proof of your devotion to love, sharing part of love's heartbreak. And let it be something that you offer up to be transmuted and transfigured, so you can stay in the stream of joyful energy that is your deepest nature.
And that leads to, that's a perfect transition to this question from someone who is wanting to know, how can we open the hearts of humanity in this heartless culture?
It is the wrong question. It's a great question, but it's a mental question. And that shows its limitation. I think the honest, direct answer is that stop trying at this moment to open the heart of humanity. Start asking yourself the question, is my heart divinized enough? Do people, when they meet me, start to smile, start to feel well, start to feel joyful, because I'm emanating secretly divine presence? Have I truly become the living Christ, able to be an embodied divine human serving with a wild and holy heart? If you ask yourself that question honestly, as I'm asking myself it honestly right now, I would say, I have so much work to do. I have to really focus not on these abstract, distracting questions of what humanity is going to do. Humanity is now in the torture machine of love itself. So you don't have to worry about humanity's heart being open. The surgeon has got the knife ready, and the surgeon is the divine. What you have to worry about, what I have to worry about, is whether our hearts are open enough, wise enough, compassionate enough, passionate enough, brave and noble enough to sustain us becoming ever more vigilant warrior midwives of the birth. That's the real question. And then when you ask that question and start living your own ragged, humble response to that question, because finally you're getting real about the real question, you'll find that something amazing happens, which is that when people find you are turning up as you, irradiated by love and joy, their hearts open naturally. It's contagious. It's alchemically contagious. Presence is contagious. Joy is contagious. Beauty of being is contagious. So then you don't need some agenda of how the 7-part plan to open the human heart. It opens like a flower because the sun that was destined to be there with it, radiating light to open it, is there. You're there. That's what you are going to be in this great birth. So work for it. Do that. Then you'll be a field of awakening naturally, because in your simple, humble, radiant presence, without speaking, people will feel and know love.
That was an amazing response. I just had to type my appreciation of everything you were saying, all in caps.
Thank you.
That was the whole.
It's a wonderful question, but it's really truly the answer. We spend all this time worrying about when are they going to wake up, when we're dying, our clock's ticking, and we're still so stupid. So let God look after the mad and the wild. God's quite capable of doing it. You take responsibility for yourself. What a thought.
It's such a powerful guiding question.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Of course. We're going to transition for just a moment. We'll have time for 1 or 2 more questions. But before we take those, I want to share a little bit more about this course. Once again, this is going to obviously be a powerful and timely 11-week journey under Andrew's transformative and inspiring and illuminating and energizing guidance, where we will find enlightened consciousness, discover how to hold both darkness and light, and help birth a new reality. This course takes place on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, starting Wednesday, January 6th. If for any reason you cannot join us live, you won't miss the teachings. You'll receive audio and video replays, transcripts, and all course handouts via your course homepage. Also, I would like to remind you that we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on our courses, giving a full 2 weeks until January 20th in this case, to make sure that you absolutely love it. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect via a private Facebook community group so you can stay connected with one another. And everyone who registers for the course will receive the Embrace the Dark Night bonus collection, which includes the Mary and the Black Madonna audio session package. There's a 3-part course in there. The Gift of Dying into Life, a series of video readings of Kabir from Andrew Harvey, a 7-part body prayer practice, which is a video from Andrew Harvey, and Nobility of Soul, a chapter from Andrew Harvey's book, Radical Regeneration. And if you register by Saturday, December 19th, you will also receive the special bonus, Celebrate the Divine Animal, a video dialogue with Andrew Harvey and Michael Stone. And Andrew, can you share a bit, you've shared so much already, but can you share a bit about what you are most looking forward to offering in this upcoming course?
Oh, I'd be thrilled. Look, I only teach things that are thrilling and galvanizing me. And what I'm about to share with you is coming fresh minted and molten to me in a way far clearer and far more urgent and far more joyful than in any other way in all of my writing and teaching. So that's why I'm teaching this course. I'm teaching this course because what is coming through to me, through the grace of the Mother and the great guides that are the evolutionary mystics, is that there is a way through shadow work to help the birth of the divine human in an absolutely astounding and empowering fashion, when you understand one thing about how the shadow is working now and how we must meet it. So I'm going to put it very simply to you. What's happening now is that the whole future of humanity is being threatened by the unleashing of the full shadow, the demonic shadow in the one, the dark forces, the shadows down here, they've all met and they're erupting, but also a answering light that is the light of the embodied divine human is being born at the same time. They're coming together, this great event. And when you really understand that, and I'll help you really grasp it, which is what is so thrilling about evolutionary mysticism, then you come to understand is that you need to grow a completely different way of feeling and experiencing this unspeakably terrifying and amazing event. And what I'm going to take you into is the secret of the new evolutionary consciousness, which is that it is a marriage at every single level of very, very grand and exciting and thrilling and devastating opposites. Most importantly, the opposites that are contained in Jesus' instruction to fuse the wisdom of the serpent, the wisdom of shadow, the wisdom of darkness, the wisdom of evil, the wisdom of understanding the world as it really is, not sentimentally, and that part of God as God really is, and that what you could call that dark side of the one. And then the innocence of the dove, the radiant, mystical, evolutionary, visionary power that descends to infuse your whole being and to transfigure it. They need to come together. And what marries them, I will try and show you and empower you to help yourself to marry them inside you. What marries them is increasingly spacious superconsciousness that understands nakedly and directly the interconnections of everything, the way good dances with evil, that evil can produce good, that good can produce evil, the game of the interactions of the opposites, so that you can come into a much calmer, steadier, grander, wiser way of dealing with this foaming, boiling, dark night birth event. And once we've really got empowered with that kind of liberating, evolutionary, positive information, because nothing is more positive than understanding that you don't deal with the subconscious and its violence and the shadow from within the consciousness or beneath or above slightly the consciousness that is actually polluted by the shadow. The revolution of evolutionary intelligence is that you cultivate the super consciousness, which is the secret root of everything that is. And the more expansive your experience of that, the more you can hold the tension of the opposites and learn from that tension how to evolve yourself into your own unique expression of divine humanity. This is the most thrilling, imaginable breakthrough. It's not mine personally. It came, Aurobindo had it, but he didn't talk about it much. He just put it into little fragments. But what I and others in these last years have been doing, have been working directly in this way to bring in and incarnate as far as possible an intelligence that can work with us, in us, to help us face the enormity of the shadows we have to face, so that we can transmute them and transform them and become integrated with their deepest wisdom and embrace what they are desperate to teach us, so that our embodiment can become so much fuller and more complete of our complete human identity, all of it divinized. This is thrilling, and this will take us into the depths of the dark night, into the depths of the shadows that this dark night is casting, into the depths of the personal shadow, and into the depths and the dangers and the shadows of the actual transfiguration path. What's thrilling is that, and I will communicate this to you, I sincerely hope, is that the higher you go up, the more you can go down into the depths of the shadow without being paralyzed and so desperate about what you have to uncover and see that you aren't functional. So the more you can find yourself attuned to the vast consciousness, the more you can come down into the secret depths of what's happening in human nature and history in your own deep shadow without terror. And the far, far, far deeper and more transforming you can go. So my deepest prayer for this journey that we're going to be taking into this evolutionary intelligence, which will offer you the richest, most ennobling mystical realities that I know and that I've garnered from my long, long, passionate exploration of all of the great mystical traditions, will give you that in as clear a way as possible, will give you the practices that will enable you to access that, to help you expand to that, and will give you what I hope are priceless, priceless ways of approaching this crucial shadow work, which will either destroy us or transfigure us. Will destroy us if we don't find a glorious divine way of doing it, which I believe this is. What I'm hoping at the end of all of this is that you feel so exhilarated and empowered at what you discover you have available for you to be able to face the worst in yourself, the worst in human nature, the worst in history, the worst of what could be done by the worst of what the evil already are up to, the dark ones possessed by power are already up to. You can face all of that, all of it, because you know that there is in you, living in you, available to you, a force which can transfigure and transmute and completely engolden all of that if it wants, if it chooses. And that you're one with that through blessing. So that's the adventure I would love to invite you on. And I'd like to go into detail into all of the different transmissions, but actually I've never spent more time writing out a course in exactly the way I wanted it to be presented. So if you would do me the honor of reading the 7 transmissions, I've tried to be as careful and clear about everything possible in them, then you'll begin to see, and I hope I've been able to give you a taste, but you begin to see, oh my God, the expansion that could come to me of the way I am and live and think and feel could be overwhelmingly beautiful and empowering at exactly the moment that I'm going to need it in this developing dark night evolutionary drama that's now going to go on expanding and exploding throughout the globe and throughout the rest of our history, however short or long it is.
Thank you. We do not have time for the final couple questions, but so much of what you just shared answered the questions that were the final questions that were coming in. And I want to acknowledge that there was a lot of love coming in the comments as well from participants saying, we love you, you're beautiful, wishing you love and light, amazing and precious. So I want to acknowledge all of that and all of the questions.
Takes one to know one.
Yes,
that's true.
I want to acknowledge
you can't
all of
see
the
anything you aren't yourself.
Yes.
That's the reality. Yes.
Yes. And thank you to everyone for participating in this Q&A session today. Thank you so much, Andrew, for showing up, for radiating the way you do, for delivering and for inspiring the way that you do. Yeah, it was medicine and a blessing for me to be here to support you. And I hope that everyone listening received what they were coming for. Yes. So
what a beautiful example of the Black Madonna this is. It's so lovely to have your power and your beauty and your feminine strength radiating. Thank you. I need it and I celebrate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My pleasure and my honor. Transform disillusionment and loss into a new reality of grace, compassion, and truth starts Wednesday, January 6th. And again, please visit embracethedarknight.com to learn more or to register. Andrew, do you have 1 minute of final words for our listeners?
From your mystical side, you learn something that will make your head swirl like Sybil in The Exorcist, and that is that the worse things get, the better they get. The more terrible things happen, the more possibility for outrageous creativity of the new is created by that rupture of destruction. And that doesn't mean that you grow in any way hard to the horror of what's happening. It doesn't mean that you are deaf to the screams of the poor or the broken or the sick. You honor at the deepest level the suffering, and you turn up and you do whatever you can to be of use to it. What it does mean is that you don't add to the suffering by being hysterical or disheartened or paralyzed or driven into nihilism or driven by the exploding disasters into giving up on the human race. What it doesn't mean is that you give in to the ego's catastrophism. The ego loves to be at the center of the drama, whether it's in denial or whether it's the victim of waking up to this horrifying situation. Learn from the mystic side of yourself that when death flashes its swords, it's because birth is appearing. And that birth is here, and you're part of it, and you're listening to me now and to the other teachers on the planet who are giving you this truth. You're listening to it now is part of that birth. So prepare to be born. Prepare to understand the birth through reading. Prepare to do the practices. Prepare to receive the real teachings that can help you. And know that the whole universe and the mother and the father of the universe are looking at you with immense love, knowing just how hard this situation is, but knowing too, oh my God, because it is so, so hard, what could be born out of it is so, so, so wonderful.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. On behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to having you on this course and on others in the future. Take care.